Hey everyone, my name is Dillon Gonzalez. I'm the editorial director of GeekVibesNation.com and also a co-host of the Home Dance Film Festival podcast. And welcome to a brand new episode of No Streaming Required, your weekly deep dive into all the latest and greatest in the world of physical media. We have a fantastic show for you this week. We have 4K upgrades, tons of boutique label releases from Scream Factory, the Criterion Collection, Radiance Films, Fun City Editions, Paramount. We have a little bit of something for everyone, and I am so excited to dive right into it. So I'm going to start with one of the most anticipated releases of the spooky season that just ended, and that is Scream Factory's release of Drag Me to Hell on 4K Ultra HD. This is Sam Raimi's nasty return to the horror genre after directing 3 Spider-Man movies. He went back to his kind of gnarly roots with this tale that is, despite what the Evil Dead films offer up, this is one of his most disgusting movies. It's poor Alison Lohman trying to get a job promotion, denying a bank extension to an old lady who curses her, and to eventually be dragged to hell. And insanity ensues. It's a really gnarly movie of just this woman trying to get this curse lifted off of her before 3 days passes. And I just have to say, everything that happens in this movie, I feel that she does not really deserve. Sure, she is not perfect, but some really disgusting and horrible things happen to her, and it's not needed. But it is a movie. It's very fun, and it moves at a lightning quick pace. But it's Sam Raimi indulging all of his disgusting. There's a lot of disgusting practical stuff. There's some kind of wonky digital effects that are in there, but that doesn't take away from your enjoyment of the film. It's just a really down and dirty horror movie that's very effective. It goes from one interesting set piece to the next. It's just a really fun time, and I'm glad to finally own this on 4K. I think it's been a long time coming. This is a really nice upgrade. This says it's for a 4K scan of the digital intermediate materials. The way it's worded is very weird because it is a digital intermediate. So I know they didn't go back probably to the original elements and kind of rescale up the digital effects and stuff. I think it's just kind of a wonky description of what it actually is. I think it's just a 4K enhancement of the digital intermediate that was approved by Sam Raimi and the original editor. But it looks very nice, whatever the case may be. This is presented in Dolby Vision. It is a nice upgrade from the old Blu-ray. I had the old Universal Blu-ray. I didn't have the previous Scream Factory Blu-ray, but by all accounts, that had pretty similar presentations. This is a new 4K uptick. And it's just a really nice bump, and the included Blu-rays are also from the new masters. So you do get the 4K disc, which has the theatrical and unrated cut via seamless branching, and then you have the unrated version and a theatrical version, each on separate disc, which includes tons of special features. So the 4K upgrade is very nice. I didn't notice anything weird encoding wise. DTS 5.1 sounds really great. And I think anyone who's looking for a picture upgrade will be very pleased by this. The Dolby Vision really brings out the nice nuances in the colors, and there's a lot that takes place in shadow with dark seances and stuff like that really brings out some more detail in that shadow that I really appreciate. No crushed blacks or anything like that. In terms of special features, you even get some new special features compared to the old Scream Factory release, which it does seem to port over all of those old special features. I do not have that release, as I said, but based on old reviews that I saw, it seems like they moved all of the special features between the 2 discs onto the theatrical cut, and on the unrated cut, they put a new nearly 2-hour documentary that's made up of new and archival interviews from the cast and crew and just all the creatives and like production designs, costumes, all the people into this new 2-hour documentary that is very entertaining. I think any fans, if you're looking for a special features upgrade, I think that new 2-hour documentary is well worth it. Plus all the other archival special features from the previous Scream Factory release, including interviews with Alison Lohman and all kinds of just like featurettes that were never put on the Universal Blu-ray. So overall, really good effort put in by Scream Factory. I think anyone's a fan of this film will agree that this is the ultimate presentation, and they will want to own this for their collection. No reversible cover art, but just you had the original cover art underneath. Very good release from Scream Factory, and make sure to pick it up if you're a fan. Going to another long-awaited upgrade, much different in tone. It is the classic William Wyler musical Bunny Girl, featuring the star-making performance from Barbra Streisand, which this earned her an Academy Award for Best Actress. Portraying the legendary comedian Fanny Brice, who was a real-life woman. I've seen some of her work on the Ziegfeld Follies movie, and this portrays her life trying to break into show business. That is underneath. There's Barbara singing. This is a classic stage play. I believe Barbara originated the role and then portrayed it on screen. It's been portrayed many times over the decades since. People who are familiar with the TV show Glee will know that Rachel Berry was obsessed with Barbra Streisand and her portrayal as Fanny Brice in Bunny Girl. So this is it's a good movie that I have issues with, but I think it's undeniable that it is a all-timer performance from Barbra Streisand as Fanny Brice. She is like just clears everyone on screen of just like, she is so locked into this performance. She is so charismatic. She is so self-assured, even from the beginning. Even whenever she is doubting herself, she is a force of nature who's always determined to make herself a force to be reckoned with, who will not be denied. And she does eventually break in to show business. Where things start to go a little bit awry for her is her weakness for this gambler played by Omar Sharif, who is finally kind of giving her that love and affection that she's always desired. But he is also a man who is not completely into the idea of being tied down to any one person. So he's kind of aloof. He's kind of always going off and kind of leaving her, and till just trying to make this relationship work seems to be more work than it is worth. But to Fanny, it is worth it. And whenever people try to tell her that maybe this isn't such a good idea, she sings it out in song to great effect, which was one of the best numbers, is Don't Rain on My Parade. That is a showstopper performance. It's my favorite song in the musical. But overall, it is, I have issues with some of this developments in the screenplay, and just how I want more focus, especially in the latter half after the intermission. This is a pretty long movie. It's about 2.5 hours long, include, like I said, with an intermission and stuff, and prelude. It loses a little bit of sense of focus on Fanny in the second half, whereas I would have preferred more of just like, or less of Omar Sharif and his kind of dealings and trying to adjust to a domesticated life where he is maybe outshone by Fanny. But overall, it's still a really good movie. It's William Wyler directing, and there's some crazy shots in here that I would have not expected for the time, but it's some very inventive direction. And overall, it's a very good movie. There's just certain small things I don't quite love, but there's no denying Barbra Streisand is impeccable in this. So I was really glad to get this in 4K. We have this Criterion edition. You have a fold-out booklet complete with restoration notes and all kinds of stuff in here. And this is a really nice restoration, especially because this is loaned out by Sony, who did the 4K restoration from the original camera negative. And whenever we're dealing with a Sony restoration, you can pretty much expect perfection. So they did all the restorations. Everything is nice, natural, no DNR or anything like that. Nice, natural film grain in Dolby Vision. It's just a impeccable transfer. And the encoding is very nice as well from Criterion. They've done a really nice job of making sure it looks its best. Original DTS 5.0 audio. Sounds really rich, robust. This is a musical. You want something big and grand and for it to sound clear, and it does. So you will not be displeased by the audio-visual quality. There's also a nice number of special features in here, including a new audio interview with Barbra Streisand. You get a interview with William Wyler's son, who provides a lot of insights into what his father thought about this movie and the stories he shared about the production and what he observed at the time. We get a documentary on William Wyler, some deleted scenes, and more. So this has been long in need of an upgrade, and I think Sony and Criterion together have really put forth a worthwhile effort. So any fan of Funny Girl will be very pleased. It is a really fun movie that any musical fan worth their salt should at least check out once. It's a lot of classics in this. Heading over to another one of my favorite labels. They put out two really fun movies this month. This is from Fun City Editions, and the first one is Paradise from 1982. So we have a young Phoebe Cates, and we have William Ames here. So people pretty flippantly describe this as a ripoff of Blue Lagoon, which I understand. There's so many similarities. I'll take out the disc so you can kind of see the reversible cover art. So you have that there, that there. But here you have two teens who are with their families over in the Middle East. A leader over there of a rebel group takes a special interest in Phoebe Cates and ends up trying to track her down by any means necessary, and which leads to dead family members and these two young people trying to survive on their own, trying to evade interacting with this scary figure that is trying to hunt them down, and eventually these young teenagers falling in love and doing what young hormonal teenagers are probably expected to probably do whenever together for any amount of time. There are some issues with this movie, obviously. This really falls into kind of like the evil Arab trope, which is not great. It's very just culturally blunt and just really leans into the cliches of the time. So that is not great. But whenever you're dealing with these two young people and their kind of connection and development, that overall works pretty well. I didn't really love that the young man, he came from a more religious background. His parents were like hardcore religious fanatics, so he says a lot of really horrendous stuff because he seems to be kind of burdened by this kind of religious indoctrination that kind of evolves into bits of misogyny whenever he's kind of feeling uncomfortable or kind of like enraged. So I didn't love that, but overall, it's a pretty fun movie. It's very entertaining just seeing these two kind of connect and just kind of develop over a period of time. I think the more single-minded amongst us will probably mostly be drawn to this because there's a young Phoebe Cates who is very unclothed for large portions of this movie. So if you are looking for that, the movie delivers. But there are other things. There's a friendly monkey who helps them out. If that is of interest to you, then you'll be happy. There's a monkey and his family. There's some action. There's some romance. There's some sexuality. Some pretty amusing things that happen here. So it has a little bit of everything rolled into one. It's not a great movie, but it is a fun movie, and I think it is well worth a place on Blu-ray, because this has been kind of long out of print in an easily accessible fashion. I don't think this has been available since like the VHS days, so whenever this was announced for Blu-ray, a lot of people were really excited to finally be able to watch this in good quality. And it is good quality because this is a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. It holds up very well. Nice clear presentation. I didn't notice any weird encoding anomalies or anything. I didn't notice even a lot of lingering damage or anything. It's pretty clear. It looks very nice. This is said to have some previously never before seen footage that was more than likely kind of cut down upon its original release. And this also, I want to note, includes the chart-topping song that Phoebe Cates sings during the credits. That is included in as originally intended on the end credits. I'm not sure what other never before seen footage is throughout the movie, but there is a lot of titillating stuff that I'm sure maybe some of it was probably cut out at one point or another, but there it is, all in its glory for you to enjoy. You do get some special features, including a commentary track, radio and TV spots, a photo gallery, a booklet that I was showing you earlier, upon the first run of this title. So if you want the booklet, don't dilly-dally. I believe the exclusive slipcover from Fun City Editions on their website is pretty much long sold out, but don't let the booklet also get sold out, so make sure to order it before the first printing runs out. So if you're a Phoebe Cates fan, definitely check this out. If you like kind of young lover movies, check it out. There's a lot of draws to this movie, so just Fun City, they rescued this one, so make sure to support them and their love of finding hidden gems, because they do nice work. Which includes another one that I also really enjoyed, that it's Heavenly Bodies, and people probably won't all have my level of excitement for this, but this really just hits on just my interests, which is just kind of great, unabashedly cheesy movies. Kind of like I discovered last year a movie called Skate Town USA that Sony had put out, which was just involved like a competition on roller skates, like at a skating rink over like a night, and it was a lot of fun. So just imagine my delight whenever I found a exercise, aerobics, dance movie that ends in a they shoot horses, don't they-esque battle between two rival dance exercise studios. It's pretty cheesy, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of great music, really fun like dance moves and leotards, and some cheesy acting, but the main actress, she's great, Cynthia Dale. She is fantastic, and she really keeps this movie on the tracks. Her love interest is kind of a bland white dude, but he's fine. He does what he needs to do, but he's not a great actor. But Cynthia Dale, she's fantastic, and she's a really great dancer, and she has a lot of charisma that really just draws you into this movie. And if you like the idea of a scrappy dance studio, exercise studio, trying to fight for their lives in order to not be taken over by a larger conglomerate, if you like that kind of ridiculousness, you will love this movie because it's a lot of fun. And I had a blast watching this. This also comes from a 4K restoration from the original Internegative, 35mm Internegative. It's been remastered and it looks very nice. You get a restored audio track, commentary, a video interview with Cynthia Dale. This is also had a lot of love put into it. So if this sounds even the slightest bit interesting to you, if the dance aerobics, competition, exercise, all these words together make you light up, this delivers. So Heavenly Bodies, make sure to check it out from Fun City. Get it sooner rather than later so you can get the booklet before its first printing runs out. As with Paradise, I believe the slipcover is long gone, but pay attention to the Fun City Editions websites for whenever they put up pre-orders, because those slipcovers have been going quickly. So if you're a slipcover fanatic, do not miss out, and just kind of keep an eye on those, because that is where they are being sold exclusively, and you won't want to miss out. So Heavenly Bodies, it's a really fun one that I recommend. Heading back to the world of 4K, we have a couple of exciting ones from Paramount. We have the long anticipated, by me at least, sequel, Addams Family Values on 4K. This is a follow-up to the Addams Family 4K from a few years ago. And while I love that release, and especially... and I gotta point out, this has the original cover art on the slip cover, so make sure to get this early before you're stuck with just this cover art here. The first Addams Family release is one of the best Paramount 4Ks that they've released, in my opinion. It is fantastic. It is like perfectly encoded, really fantastic restoration. And if you want the same from Addams Family Values, it is close, but it is not as magnificent as the Addams Family for the 4K for the first one. It is similarly handled, but it was this one has a different cinematographer who it's not as visually as crisp and clean and like as that first movie. There's a lot of optical effects in this movie that makes it it's impossible to match the just impeccable nature of that first disc. But this is not one of those Paramount encodes that completely shits the bed. This is actually a really nice encode from Paramount. It is just the original source is not the strongest for Addams Family Values, so it is one of their better 4K discs as of late. But whenever you're comparing it to one of their top 5 4K discs ever for a catalog release, it just doesn't quite reach those heights. So if you have your expectations dialed in correctly, I think you'll be very pleased with this 4K release, especially since the previous Blu-ray release for Addams Family Values was pretty atrocious. It is god-awful, so that alone, this is a huge upgrade that I think will please fans who have been wanting this to be treated with respect, because this very much needed it, because I actually prefer the sequel to the first Addams Family movie. It is a great Thanksgiving movie, so for those who want to prepare for Thanksgiving, you can get this and have it in time for Thanksgiving. But Addams Family Values is good anytime. And you even get a couple of special features that are new to physical media, including a commentary track from Barry Sonnenfeld and writer Patrick Rudnick, and also a featurette called Crafting Addams Family Values. That runs about 10 minutes. There's like some EPK-esque stuff and scenes from the movie and stuff. But overall, great release from Paramount for this one that I think makes it look the best that it can. And I think anyone who's a fan of this series will very much appreciate the care that has been put into this one, because Paramount, it can be a little bit inconsistent, but they do a nice job with this one. And they do a nice job with their next release. That is the 70th anniversary release of White Christmas, Irving Berlin's White Christmas. So this is a holiday classic to many, and like Addams Family, you get different cover art underneath. So if you want this beautiful slipcover, get this sooner rather than later. So here, unlike Addams Family, you get a Blu-ray disc along with the new 4K disc. The Blu-ray disc houses all these special features. It's just a port over of the previous, I believe, 2014 Blu-ray release that had kind of like a little bit more special features than the preceding Blu-ray release. And you also get the 4K presentation of the film. So once again, this is Paramount bringing out more of their A-team in terms of encoding and stuff. You get a new restoration from the restoration of the VistaVision negative. This is in a new aspect ratio compared to the previous releases. Previous release was 1.78 by 1. This is in 1.85 by 1. The difference is pretty minuscule. I don't think most people who are not screen capping and compare will notice very much, but I think this is more configured to what it was originally supposed to look like. So just be aware of that. This is in Dolby Vision. It looks fantastic. This is a very, very colorful movie, especially in the costumes and stuff. It just kind of radiates off the screen. I think this is the best that it has ever looked by far. No egregious encoding issues from what I saw. You get a 5.1 and 2.0 original mono track. You get a commentary track and all the archival special features. Tons of featurettes on here. As a Christmas movie, I'm a little bit disappointed by this. I've seen it once before because there's not a lot of Christmas in White Christmas. You kind of bookend stuff and you get like the singing of White Christmas at the end, but there's a lot of stuff in between, which, while very good, kind of makes it a struggle for me to make it a Christmas staple. But it is a really good movie. You get Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye doing some incredible dancing, singing, some good romantic stuff in here, misunderstandings, all that good stuff. So while it is a classic, it is not a Christmas classic to me, but I know it's a Christmas classic to many, and I think you'll be very pleased by this 4K, and I look forward to revisiting this more in the future on this beautiful 4K that is the ultimate presentation of this movie. So add this to your collection for the holidays. You will not be disappointed. And yes, we just finished with Halloween, and we are, as you just saw, we are getting deep into the Christmas season. I know we already have our lights up in our house, so we are in the mood, and along with White Christmas, we watched a couple of Christmas movies that may not be as well known to you. The first is a new Blu-ray release from Shoreline Entertainment. This is Christmess. This is an Australian movie, and I just gotta say, it is wild because this cover art, what are they doing? Because these people do not appear in the movie. I do not know what this cover art is. See this man right here? It's supposed to be this man. This man is damn near bald, no real facial hair. He has stubble. This man has a full beard and hair. This girl, there is a girl who plays a guitar in this movie. She is a blonde lady and is not a teenager. She is like 30 something. This man does have a daughter and it is not this girl. She is older than this. It is, who are these people? What are they doing on this train? Anyway, this is an Australian Christmas movie it's a very somber Christmas movie. It is about a alcoholic man right here who he is fresh out of rehab. He's been sober for 30 days. You can tell he's a kind of a washed up actor who's trying to get his life back on track. He goes to a halfway house to live with his sponsor, and he is trying to get his life back on track. He's trying to reconnect with his daughter and all this stuff. But this is a real struggle. It is a person handling addiction and all the triumphs and the setbacks that entails. And this is very, very much a Christmas movie. He gets a job as like a store Santa, and it is all kind of set around the Christmas holiday and trying to come together and just really get your life on track. While it is somber a lot of times, I think overall it is hopeful. There's a lot of levity throughout, but it also deals with some serious issues of addiction and stuff. So, and all set in Australia. And so it's kind of a warmer Christmas movie, but overall it is one I quite enjoyed. And I think it is worth checking out. If you need to just kind of sample this first. I believe I also saw that it was on Hoopla, which is a free streaming service that you can get through like libraries and stuff. But I think it is worth checking out for sure. And if you like it, this is on Blu-ray. there are no special features besides a trailer. It is in DTS 2.0 audio. This is a burned disc, and I do want to say I think I got a defective copy because there were times where there was like some pixelization and stuff. So I will have to contact the place where I got this from and try to get a replacement, which is why I don't love burned discs, but that is an anomaly. Usually burned discs work out quite well for me, but I just want people to be aware that this is a burned disc, and some people's players do not work as well with those. So just be on notice that this is a burned disc. But overall, when it wasn't messing up pixelization wise, good transfer. When I compared it to the Hoopla stream, and this was like more crisp and less blocky and stuff, it is a nice sounding, nice looking transfer. It's not a masterpiece, but it is a new movie and it looks quite nice. So, Shoreline, their Christmess movie, pretty decent and worth adding to your holiday rotation if you don't mind something a little bit more heavy. Which could also be said for this next unconventional Christmas movie. Also from Shoreline, this is Boiling Point. This is a great movie, and this is for the people who need to scratch that bear-sized hole in their heart. Hulu's The Bear. This is a set on Christmas, during the Christmas season. I think it was Christmas Day, where you have a single illusion of a single take of a day in a kitchen, and that involves Stephen Graham, who is the chef of a kitchen, and just really going through the ringer of just like all the stress that goes into all the kitchen work and all the terrible customers and just like the personal drama that is going on behind the scenes in the kitchen and all that good stuff. If that's your bag, Boiling Point, really, it'll stress you the hell out, but in a good way. It's a lot of fun. Fun's a interesting word for this. It's really engaging, and just a really solid watch. The only thing I didn't really love is the ending is a little bit unsatisfying, but overall, good watch. In terms of special features, there are none. But this is presented at DTS 2.0. Nice, crisp HD transfer. Also on a burn disc, no issues with that. None of the issues with any of the other burn discs that I'm going to show. But I am glad to have this on Blu-ray. I know this was nominated for some BAFTAs a couple of years ago, and I always wanted to check it out and own it, and now I get to. And so this is a good one for those looking for some chef drama in their life. My last Christmas film is one from Universal. It is one that was released on Peacock last year, and that is Genie. So this is Melissa McCarthy comedy where she plays a genie, kind of like a magic lamp genie, who comes to help, who is summoned, and eventually helps this man kind of get his life back on track and get his family back and all that good stuff, and all the while conjuring some magical stuff and all that. But is it great? No, but it's entertaining enough kind of background holiday watching. This is more the family-friendly variety. It's Melissa McCarthy being a big personality, but in a way that is not super obnoxious. I love Melissa McCarthy. She's done some kind of stinkers in recent years, but overall, this one is decent. I do not like the way this movie ends in terms of like the wishes, but I will not spoil anything. But overall, it's a pretty satisfying Christmas movie. It's perfectly serviceable. It's not great, but it's not terrible. So if you kind of just want kind of that background holiday watching fun for like putting up the Christmas lights or something, Genie is a decent enough watch. It looks really nice on Blu-ray. Burn disc from Universal. And no special features, but DTS 5.1 audio. Sounds great, looks great. So anyone who wants a little something for the Christmas spirit, Genie will do you well. Also from Universal, one of my favorite films of the year, and that is Didi. which debuted at Sundance earlier this year. I reviewed it there, so go to geekvibesnation.com to read my full thoughts on this, because I really loved it, and I still love it upon a rewatch. It is a coming-of-age tale set in the 2000s of a young teenager who is dealing with just normal teenage stuff, living in the burgeoning social media age with AOL Instant Messenger, and trying to deal with like talking to girls, dealing with being like an Asian teenager amongst a lot of white kids, and dealing with trying to figure out your place in different friend groups, and like whether you like are still close with your old friends or if you want to have new friends, and dealing with your mom and loving her but also hating her at the same time, and being disrespectful and then feeling bad about it, and all this stuff inside you. It really encapsulates this in a very rewarding way, and I think it's very nuanced. I believe Joan Chen should be up for supporting actress if there's any justice in the world as his mom. But overall, this is just a really great coming-of-age story. I love coming-of-age stories, and this one is fantastic. I think it'll solidly have a place in my top 10 by the end of the year. And I'm so glad this got a Blu-ray release. I was scared it would only get a DVD release, but got Blu-ray. Looks really nice. It captures the aesthetic really well. DTS 5.1 audio. You get a 13-minute making-of featurette, which is really nice. You have some nice candid moments with the cast and creative team, and overall, great release for a great film. Another coming-of-age-esque tale, not as effective but still entertaining, is Little Boxes. I believe this was from 2016. This is from Tribeca Films. This deals in similar territory. This involves a family who moves from New York to, I believe it's Oregon or Washington State, somewhere in the suburbs where there are not a lot of people of color. You have Nelson Ellis here from True Blood fame. You have Melanie Linsky here from Yellow Jackets fame, and a lot of other notable projects. And then Armani Jackson here. I believe this is one of his first features. So this deals a lot with just like a family uprooting their lives for a career opportunity move, and just trying to adjust to their new circumstances, and how they are kind of viewed as outsiders, but not in always the most obvious ways. There's a lot of like kind of microaggressions that the people who are talking to them probably don't recognize that they are doing, but they are just kind of making this family feel not completely welcome at all times. And there's like class distinctions and all kinds of stuff, and just a lot of growing pains with trying to be a part of this community. But overall, they don't engage with this subject to its full potential, but it's still a very good movie. I found it entertaining. The performances are really great. I love the cast. But overall, it just feels a little slight compared to what the potential of this story is. But overall, it's good. This comes with a burn disc. No issues with that, but perfectly good picture and audio. This has DTS 5.1 sound. There's a trailer that comes with it, but no other special features. If you like coming of age tales, watch Didi first, but also Little Boxes is worth checking out. Another coming-of-age tale, kind of to keep an eye on, is the new release of National Anthem from Decal Releasing. So this is Charlie Plummer, who plays a teenager who he gets a job at this queer rodeo where there's like, it's a rodeo, but it's like kind of like a safe haven for a lot of queer youth and kind of young adults who are like just need a kind of a safe space to kind of exist and explore and all this stuff. And this kind of gives our Charlie Plummer main character kind of a new look at life and just how he wants to live his life, and like he kind of is smitten with one of the women there, who is a trans woman, and just like there's kind of like a love triangle thing going on there. And this is really just a really rewarding movie. It's handled with a lot of delicacy and grace. This is based on the experiences of the director somewhat, and so there's an authenticity to this, and there's a real sense of acceptance throughout this movie that I think works very well, and it's very engaging, and it is one of the better films I've seen this year. So if you are into kind of like a queer coming-of-age tale, National Anthem is well worth your time. Burn disc, no issues, really great picture, audio's good, no special features, but glad it got a Blu-ray release from Decal. Another manufactured on demand burn disc is from Gravitas Ventures, and we have Another Happy Day with Lauren Lapkus, and we have Carrie Coon in a very small role, but she is on the cover. I do love Carrie Coon, and I do love Lauren Lapkus, and that was enough to get me to check this out. This is described as a postpartum depression comedy, which is not impossible to do, because we do have Tully, which I think is the ultimate example of this. I love Tully. A lot of people don't love Tully, but I love Tully. This doesn't rise to the level of Tully, but I think it does a decent job. I love Lauren Lapkus, so she really kept me engaged throughout. This is about a woman who, she's a new mom, first time mom, she has a husband, but he's at work a lot of times. He is supportive when he's at home, but he kind of is the type of man who doesn't really, he listens to his wife, but he doesn't really like listen. He doesn't really help her whenever she seems to be clearly asking for help in like kind of an indirect way, or sometimes direct way. He just kind of, he's not helping her as much as he needs. And just this woman trying to deal with postpartum depression and not feeling connected to her child, and trying to get help in unexpected ways, including a kind of a distant family member who her mom tries to connect her with, who is also another person who doesn't help her whenever she asks for help in the way that she needs. So this is a lot of like failing to help this poor lady, this poor mom, whenever she needs it. And I think that's a great premise for a movie. I don't think this movie completely explores it, because it seems to almost lose track of her postpartum depression and how she's dealing with kind of that as it reaches the end, because it kind of loses sight between like the time she is spending with her distant relative and how she is viewing herself, and like these, she has some really like unsettling dreams and stuff that kind of like connect to her real life and just kind of like actualize her fears and like materialize her fears in her dreams and stuff, and that's very interesting. But I just think it doesn't completely land everything, and it's also not as funny like to be as labeled as a comedy as like Tully. It just, the tonal balance isn't quite there. It is more of a drama than a comedy, I would feel. But overall, it is worth checking out if you find the subject matter interesting, or if you love the cast like I do. Great performances. Lauren Lapkus is really great. Carrie Coon is great in her her scene. And the rest of the cast is also good. But it's just not the perfect balance that we need. But this disc looks nice, sounds good. No special features to speak of, but DTS 5.1 sound. So if it sounds interesting to you, the disc is good. Burn disc, but no issues. Check it out. We may be past spooky season, but we will always talk about horror titles, and that includes my next title from Shout Factory. That is Model House, which is a movie that came out a couple months ago that I was iffy about even watching, but I'm glad I did, because I thought this would be just kind of like your run-of-the-mill bad horror movie, which it can be a little bit, but this is much better than I expected it to be. This is about a group of models who are at a fashion house or like a photo house, like staying at a house during a photography shoot where there's a home invasion, and it takes them a couple of people, masked intruders, take them hostage and try to extort their fan base to kind of donate and give like ransom money and stuff, which they are impersonating the people, so it's not directly like we are holding them for ransom. It is more so like trying to comment on fame and influencer and just like how all that stuff. And on that level, it works pretty well, and kind of as like a home invasion thriller. We have this main model right here. This is like her first photo shoot, and she's kind of our audience surrogate to this world. The rest of the performers are pretty entertaining personalities. They are not all great actresses, but they are all entertaining enough to make this premise work. And this is directed with a level of competency and precision that you kind of forgive any of the small shortcomings. This is just like, you have beautiful women who are engaging personalities, and like personalities who are not completely unforgivably dumb. There's some dumb things in this movie, but overall it works pretty well, and it has like some not super vicious deaths, but some intense deaths that work well. So overall, I was entertained by it much more than I thought I would be. So it rose to the level of like, I was not mad that I watched this, and I would probably watch it again, which I cannot say about every horror movie that I've reviewed on this channel. There's a lot of bad stuff out there, but this one, solid enough for a watch, in my opinion. No special features, but you get a DTS 5.1 track that sounds good, and the visuals are great. It's a brand new movie, press disc, everything's great. So audiovisual wise, good. Movie wise, pretty good. So worth checking out in one form or another. Going more into one of my favorite boutique labels, I'm going over to a trio of Radiance Films releases. The first is a box set, and that is the Daiei Gothic Japanese ghost story set. So that we have the J card here that comes off. I kind of peeled off and tucked the adhesive, so underneath you have this nice box set of 3 Japanese horror movies, and those include The Ghost of Yatsuya here. So we have the reversible cover art here. We have the Snow Woman next, which you can find here, this is a story that's been adapted a few times. I believe I saw that it was kind of like a take on Quieten. I recognize it as kind of similar to the last Tales from the Dark Side, the movie installment. Is kind of a take on that. But I quite enjoyed that. We also have The Bride from Hades, or The Bride from Hell, depending on where you're looking. So here, the reversible cover art on that, and the disc there. So these 3 ghost stories are pretty entertaining. I liked The Snow Woman the most, then Bride from Hades, and The Ghost of Yatsuya. Very nice booklet here, full of essays and photo reproductions, all that good stuff. These are all fairly creepy. They have a really eerie tone about them. They're not like in-your-face horror movies for the most part, but overall, these are 3 kind of eerie, creepy titles. Like The Bride from Hades, I was kind of irritated a little bit at just like at how the ghosts acted a little bit. I thought they were acting a little bit irrational, but that's all personal opinion. But a lot of these tales involve just women being screwed over and ghostly women coming for some kind of vengeance or something. But overall, I enjoyed these movies. They're fun, and Radiance Films did a really nice job with these. So the Ghost of Yotsuya gets an HD transfer, and the Snow Woman and Bride from Hell get 4K restorations, and from Toei, and they are Daiei, my mistake. I was looking at the next title. They get 4K restorations that look very nice, and there is a visual difference between the Ghosts of Yotsuya and the other two movies. It's not quite as impeccable as the other two, but overall, they all three look nice. It's just Snow Woman and Bride from Hades are a little bit better, and they all sound pretty decent, not much in the way of wear and tear. You get interviews, visual essays, a commentary track on the Bride from Hades, and archival interviews, all that good stuff. So really nice set from Radiance. The Daiei Gothic Japanese ghost story set is a winner from them, as is most of their releases, including their next release, Japan Organized Crime Boss. So very generic title, you gotta love it, but it's a good movie. Don't let the generic title scare you off. I will remove the OBI strip here so you get to see the full cover art here, and I will show the reversible cover art inside. Take out the booklet and the disc, and you got the reversible cover art. You got the booklet here with essays and photo reproductions and all kinds of good stuff in here, transfer notes. So and I will show the disc here. So this is just your classic, like kind of Yakuza-esque tale of a criminal freshly out of prison who's kind of trying to take a less criminal path. He wants to get his life back more on track. He is asked by the dying boss to take over, and of course he can't refuse his former boss. And so he tries to take over this syndicate, but he is also trying to lead from a place of honor and getting back into a world that knows no honor, and just kind of that juxtaposition between the old ways and the new ways and how those clash and how it's very deadly. It's very entertaining. If you love Yakuza tales, you're gonna love this one. It's a really entertaining effort, and Radiance Films did a nice job with this. As I said mistakenly on the last one, this is from a 4K restoration by Toei. It looks very nice. Very nice, crisp and clear. Nice colors, no obvious damage. You get some interviews and a visual essay. Some good stuff that fans will love. So Japan Organized Crime Boss, very much worth keeping an eye on, as well as the next one. From Italy, we have Slap the Monster on Page 1. You got to love these Italian titles. They are always just have such colorful language. So removing the OBI strip, you get the full artwork there. Removing the booklet and disc, you can see the reversible cover art with the original Italian title there. Replace the disc that's there, and then we have the booklet here. So this is a really interesting tale. It revolves around the death of a young teenage girl, and kind of the story is set in kind of like a newspaper room, and it's kind of comments on how the journalism and the government try to use the death of this young girl and manipulated in different ways to either help or hurt the current political parties, and how the facts are twisted in order to try to serve agendas, and the pressure that is put on print media and all this stuff, and like journalistic integrity, all with kind of this underlying thing of just like, who was this girl that got killed? What was she involved in? What is true? What is fiction? All this stuff. It is completely my jam. I love stuff like this, and I love kind of like political conspiracy thrillers, like government thrillers. I love it, and this one is a fun one. I love movies set around journalism. So Slap the Monster on page 1 is right up my alley. This has been given a nice 4K restoration from the original camera negative. You do have an interview, an appreciation piece from Alex Cox. All good things from Radiance. They always make me happy, and this is no different. Continuing the Italian crime genre, we have 2 from Fernando De Leo. We have The Italian Connection and The Boss, each with Henry Silva. I did not do my research on these titles before just digging into them, and did not realize that these was part of a trilogy. The first being Caliber 9, which I have seen, thankfully. I had seen that one and reviewed it before. Followed by Italian Connection, and finally The Boss. Like I said, I did not do any research. I did not know anything about these films. So I watched The Boss first, which is the last film. Then I watched Italian Connection, which is very confusing because The Boss ends with a to be continued, which apparently is symbolic. There is no follow-up to this film. It's more like the cycle of violence continues. And it's wild, but it's how it works. But even watching both of these, I did not notice a huge connection between the two. I think there's more of a connection between Caliber 9 and Italian Connection than there are between Italian Connection and The Boss. But the connection I see between them is they're both very violent. They both feature people with their backs against the wall and just shifting allegiances, and people trying to kill their way out of a bad situation. And some misogyny, and some pretty rampant misogyny in The Boss, but less so in the Italian Connection. There is some there. But overall, just a lot of backstabbing, killing, grabs for power. If you love that, this trilogy with like Caliber 9 will make you very happy. Great Italian violence and goodness and stuff. These have both been given 4K restorations from the original camera negative, courtesy of Rara Video. Rara Video, they usually seem to do their stuff from Cinema Retrovita from over in Europe, and those usually get more of a yellow push. It's not an egregious yellow push, but there is a gentle golden hue to these transfers. Not egregious, like I said, but there is a little bit there. But they overall look very nice. They have the original Italian and an English dub option on each of these. Each get a commentary track. Each get a featurette documentary that you can check out. That's like 10 to 15 minutes long. But overall, pretty solid Italian crime movies if you're into the genre. Check them out. Italian Connection and The Boss. Heading over to the world of TV, we have from RLJ and AMC, Orphan Black Echoes, the single season now that it has been canceled, spin-off from Orphan Black, the classic show with Tatiana Maslany. We have 3 discs here, 1 here, and stacked disc here. 10 episodes for this complete series set now. So you have Kristen Ritter, who I love, in this show that is set several decades after Orphan Black, that unfortunately does not come close towards the greatness of Orphan Black. There are some interesting things in here, but it's a little bit, it doesn't explore the new concepts it is trying to introduce in a very satisfying way. And whenever the acting is not as strong as, like, the writing has always been a little bit iffy with this series. Even Orphan Black had moments where you were kind of like, I'm not sure about this, but Tatiana Maslany's performance always kept things on the rail. You don't really have that here, so you have some writing that is pretty erratic, that never really satisfy in a real way. There is a character that ties back to the original series that I will not spoil, because I saw in the initial reviews that people were told to keep it a secret, so I will do the same. But just know that there is a character that ties back to the original series in here, which is the most interesting part of this show, and it's not given as much attention as I would have personally wanted. But I do love Kristen Ritter enough to say, give it a chance. Just know that it does not come close to Orphan Black, so just be aware. So Orphan Black Echoes, it looks very nice on Blu-ray. 3 discs, gives these 10 episodes room to breathe. You do get a pre-episode featurette, like pre-premiere featurette that details the series, and most but not all episodes get kind of like an inside the episode type supplement that's a few minutes long usually. So good release for the show if you like it, but just have your expectations in check for this one. And finally, from MVD Entertainment, this is a fun one for us nerds. This is 1982, The Greatest Geek Year Ever, from the MVD Rewind Collection. This is a newer documentary from the past few years that indulges in all things geek culture. So this one is a cool release because I think, from what I could tell, this was chopped up at some point into individual episodes, but this is the original uncut documentary as it aired, or as it debuted, I believe, at one of the European festivals. This is the complete 2-hour and 45-minute version of this movie. So it's a hefty movie. It delves into a lot of stuff, but specifically the year of 1982 and all the great content or films and television and stuff that came out. That includes, as I will name off some of the stuff that they announced here, E.T., Blade Runner, Star Trek II, Poltergeist, Tron, and also other stuff like The Thing, and just so many great movies, pivotal movies that we still love to this day, came out in 1982. But what makes this series stand apart than more than just a love fest is you get a lot of people who were directly involved with these projects talk about them in pretty extensive detail. And these are people you would want to hear from, like Keith David for The Thing. And then there's also a panel of experts and film historians and just so many people here that give context to this year, this decade, what was going on culturally, how things were feeding into this specific year, what made all of this happen. Like I said, you have 2 hours and nearly 3 hours of runtime to fill. And so it gives it a little bit of room to breathe, to really delve into kind of the nuances of this year and what was going on. And a lot of great interviews. And you get even more interviews through deleted scenes on this disc. You get 40 minutes of deleted scenes. You get 2 commentary tracks. You get a Comic-Con panel and other featurettes that... It's just a great release from MVD Entertainment. I love documentaries like this when they're done well, and this one is done very well. So I'm glad they picked this up. This is a nice release. Video quality is great. The clips seem to be sourced from the best materials that were available when this was being completed. And just the newer interview clips look really nice. Audio is consistently good. You get the 5.1 audio and 2.0 audio. Overall, fantastic. 1982, greatest geek year ever. If you're a fan of movie geekdom, fandom, this one is a fun one from MVD. That is my show. I always have such a blast talking about these releases with you guys, and I I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a comment, like this video, share it with anyone you think might like it. It really helps me out. It helps the channel out. Make sure you're subscribed to the Geek Vibes Nation YouTube channel. I will be back again next week. I have some fun titles brewing, but until next time, enjoy these movies.